Welcome back to my channel Technobits. So this is a new video where we are discussing the Linux operating system. Recently I published talking about Windows Active Directory. I published FSMO roles and the schema master role. So you can watch those videos as well if you are interested into watching videos for Active Directory if you want to learn Active Directory. So while I'm doing it, uh, now I am creating videos on Linux operating system as well. So you see I have two videos on FSMO roles and Active Directory. And lastly, related to Linux, we install the Parrot OS and we install the Kali Linux. So now we will work on like the after you install the operating system, how you manage the Linux operating systems. So now the topic is essential Linux commands for Kali and Parrot OS. So in this, we will learn about essential Linux commands for like it would be Linux commands, but I will be showing you these commands on Kali and Parrot OS. And if you go through the contents, so first of all, we will see the sudo commands in Linux. And while discussing the sudo command, we will look into difference between sudo su hyphen and sudo su command. Then we will look into user and group management commands in Linux, managing users in Linux, managing groups in Linux, and then lastly we'll see some commands related to file and directory management. So let us begin the video. Okay, so the first thing we will look into is sudo command in Linux. Now, what is a sudo command? Whenever we execute command uh, that needs admin privilege on our machine, we use the sudo command, and I'll show you on Kali Linux. So I'll just close these terminals which are already running. Parrot OS. Okay, so if we go by the definition, so in Linux, sudo command stands for super user do. So super user have absolute admin privilege over the Linux OS. So sudo stands for super user do and is used to execute commands with super user. That is like what we call super user in general terms. In Linux, they are known as root users. So any command that you need to run with the super user rights, you use sudo command. The root user has the highest level of access on a Linux system and can perform critical system tasks such as installing software, modifying system files, managing user, and configuring the system. Now, why do you need to run the sudo command? First is execute commands with elevated privileges, right? So if any command that you're running on a Linux machine, if it needs elevated privilege, then you use the sudo command. So basically, the jobs which need elevated privileges are installing or removing the software package, editing system configuration file, changing file ownership and permission in system directories, and stopping, or restarting system services. So let us understand how do we run. So this is my Parrot OS Linux. This is Kali Linux. So first thing is you need to open the terminal. So here every time, like if you're not logged in with a root account, and that is a security condition as well. You should not, and recommended that you should not log in with the root command. sorry, as a root user. So this is one user account in this Kali Linux. That is my account. While if you watch my video on installation of the Kali Linux, we created this account while installing. So the person who is installing becomes the root user. However, by default, it will not load the root terminal. So the command to install a package in Kali Linux is apt. Suppose I'm trying to run. So it says error, and the error is permission denied. Error, unable to acquire the deep look. Are you a root? It is asking whether you are a root or not. So suppose if I do sudo apt install nginx. So it is asking the password for root. So I enter my password. So when you enter a password, you don't see anything. You just have to push, give the keystrokes, and you run it. So you see, it succeeded, right? So what it did, it actually did not load the complete terminal with a power user or a super user or a root user. While installing the command, you specify to run as a root user by putting sudo, and it did the installation for you. However, it did not go into a super user mode, right? So if you see, it is back to this. How do you know if it is back to like a normal user? So next time if you run the same command apt install nginx and run it, it is again saying permission denied, right? Which means only for this session it has the root privilege. It ran the command, it completed the installation. Now it is not uh, the root user, it is again the normal, it has come back to normal user. So this is how you use the sudo command. Now it adds enhanced security to your Linux because it logs user actions. Every time sudo is used, it is logged, so administrators can track who did what. Okay, so suppose while running this command, like I ran this sudo command, it will create a log where it will tell that this user initiated a root um, login, a root activity, which was to install a package. Name of the package was nginx. So in a short while we will look into that log. Sorry. Okay. And again, avoid logging in as a root. So what does it mean? Instead of logging in as the root user, which is discouraged due to security risk, sudo uh, allow users to temporarily gain super user privileges. This reduces the chance of unintentional system-wide changes or critical mistakes that can happen while logged in as root user. Correct. Let me correct it. So okay. So while moving the mouse instead of logging, okay, root user. So now this is okay. Again, we will understand what is the difference between sudo su hyphen or sudo su command. So there are two types of sudo commands: sudo su hyphen or sudo su. Right? So coming back to my Linux machine, the Kali Linux. Okay, what we see here is while installing, we initiated like the sudo command. So it completed the task and it is back. What if I need to log into root as log into the terminal as the root user. So what I'll do is I'll do sudo su hyphen, and it, because I have provided the password once, right? So it will not ask me for a password. So you see here now from Nitesh it changed to root. Now I am logged into terminal as a root, and if I run this command apt install nginx, it will do the installation, and it will not take me back to the user session. It will remain in the root session because we have used sudo su hyphen command. Again, if I want to exit out of sudo mode, so I put exit and it is back to my normal user role. Now we will try sudo su. We will not use hyphen. So you might be seeing the difference here. It loaded the root, but it has not changed my home directory. So it is still in home Nitesh directory because we have used sudo su command. And if you have noticed, when you use sudo su hyphen, it has taken you to the root directory. The tilde sign is representing the root directory. So there is, what is the difference between sudo su and sudo hyphen? It sudo su hyphen takes you to the root directory. It loads your profile with all the root features like directories and all. And sudo su, it does not change your home directory, or it does not load the complete profile. So here if I run this command, it will still be able to install application apt install nginx. If I do it, it is still installing it, but it remains in the home directory. So now we will exit. So to exit out of the sudo mode, you need to put exit command. Now coming back to the slide, what is the difference? So I have explained what is the difference. So command is sudo su hyphen, command is sudo su. So when you use sudo su hyphen, it environment that it loads, environment loaded is root's login environment. Working directory, it will change to root purpose. Full root access with root environment. So if you want full root access with root's environment, you have to use sudo su hyphen command. With sudo su command, but remains the user environment root access. It will give you the root access, but the environment remains the user's environment. It stays the same. There will be no change in the working directory, and it will load the current user's environment. So that was it on the sudo command in Linux. Now we have run the commands using sudo. So as I told you earlier, like there would be logs created. So let us see if we can trace these activities that we perform through the sudo command. So the command that you need to put to check the log is journalctl. So first I'll show you what journalctl is. When you put journalctl, it will show you all the logs. So you can select it and you press enter on this line. So it will show you all the logs, whatever this Kali Linux is logging in. So suppose I have to check for sudo use when the sudo commands or root access was enabled on this machine. So we will use journalctl and we will do a grep filter for sudo. And if you run this, so you see on 2nd of October the latest commands on August 28th, September 14th, and finally you will see I used the sudo command on Kali Linux. Sudo session was closed, and if you see On October 2nd, Kali Lab, Unix Privilege Account Management, PAM Unix, sudo session opened for the user root UID 0 by Nitesh UID 1000. So Nitesh has a UID 1000. The user ID is 1000. So we'll show you when we work on the Linux commands to manage users and groups. So we will find out the user IDs as well. So we understood about the sudo command, sudo su hyphen and sudo su. And when you use a sudo command on a Kali Linux machine, how you can find out through journalctl command, like when the session was used, when the session was accessed, and that was more on the sudo command. If you have any questions, any queries, or any suggestions related to sudo, so you can put it in the comments in the video comment. Now we will run the same commands on the Parrot OS. So first would be sudo apt install nginx. So this nginx you can replace with any of the package, So I put my password. Now if I do simple apt install nginx, it will give you the same error. Now run the sudo su hyphen. So you see the root directory, it went to the root directory. And in other terminal, if I run only sudo su, so it was asking for a password, and it changed. It did not change the directory, so it is not loading the full environment. And if I run now, I run apt install nginx. It did the installation, and to come out of it, I put exit. It came back, and then I put exit. So it logged out, and we are back to our normal profile. Now I'll use journalctl. So it listed all the events. I'll press Ctrl Z and go back to the screen. Now I'll run it with a filter. Let me Okay, so let me clear it out first. Clear this shell so that I can start it over. So now I put journalctl #, grep sudo. So if I run it, so on October 2nd, you see, like today's date, when I ran the sudo commands on this operating system. So that was on, so we saw it on Kali Linux as well as we saw it on Parrot OS. Next is user and group management commands in Linux. So we will look into commands where we like with the commands how we can manage users and groups in Linux. So let's start. So first we look into user management commands. So first is adding a new user. The command is user add or add user. So we'll use sudo user add and put the username. Now, and we will use sudo add user username. Okay, so let us start our Kali Linux. Okay, I logged in, so I'll do a clear on it. So the command is sudo user add and username. So we'll do sudo user add username. We'll put like test user 1 and hit enter. It is asking for a password. Sorry. Ah, the password. So it has created the test user, and we will see how when we move to the next command, we'll see how we can view all the users. Now, the second command, the second option is like sudo. First we use user add. Now you'll use add user, and we'll use test. So let me do test user one. So what? So it says fatal error. The user test user one already exists. So which means the test user one is created. So it'll create test user two, and it will ask. So you see in user add, it did not ask you. It just created the account and it did not give you any prompt. But with add user, we are getting an option. So for selecting UID, the user ID from range 1000 to 5999, so it will automatically allocate any user ID between this number. So for test user 2, it has allocated 1002. So if we remember when we checked the user ID for Nitesh, it was 1000. When we created test user 1, it allocated 1001 as the UID. For test user 2, it has allocated 1002. Now, after it allocates the UID, it is adding the new user test user 2 with group test user 2, creating the home directories. Okay, so it is writing you like it has created the home directory for test user 2 as well. Now it copied the essential files from etc to the user profile. Now it is asking to create a password, so we'll create a password. So we created. Now it asking for retype. Full name, I'll put like test user 2, room number, no, work phone, no, home phone. You can put these values. Is the information correct? Yes. So now the test user is created and it is added to the group users. So we saw the two commands, user add and add user. So add user is an advanced command, so it gives you advanced options. Whereas test user add, it will ask it simply created the user. So now, yeah, we see the add user command is more user friendly and interactive. Now, setting or changing the user password, the command is passwd. Syntax would be sudo passwd in username. So let us try this command. So we'll go back to Kali. We'll clear the terminal and we'll type sudo passwd, and we created test user 2. So we'll put test user 2. New password if I want to change, and reconfirm password. So password updated successfully. So if you remember, like for when we run the user add command, it did not give an option to specify the password. So we will use for test user 1, new password. So I'll put new password and new password. Okay, so password updated successfully. So now we have set the password for test user 1 as well. Okay. The third command that we will look into, deleting a user. The command is userdel. Now sudo userdel and username. Okay, so let us go back to Kali and we'll do sudo userdel and we will delete test user 1. Now it completed. So now the test user 1 is deleted. Now if you want to delete the home directory, you need to use sudo userdel with option R, and you need to provide the username. So let us see. Sudo userdel R test user1. The user test user1 does not exist. Okay. Now R will delete user2. So the userdel test user2 mail spool variable, like this is the folder where mail test user2 not found, because the test user2 never logged into the machine. So that is the reason why you're not able to find. Okay, so when we look into the commands to check the home directory or the file, we will see how we can find the home directories. So suppose now we will see modifying a user. Sorry. Okay, modifying a user. Now, before we modify a user, uh, we need to create a group. So we will go back, and I showed you it on Kali Linux. So let me show it on your on Parrot OS. So we'll do a clear here and sudo add user test user one, right? So new password. Parrot OS full name is like I'll put test user one. Room number, no. Work phone, no. Other, is the information correct? Yes. Test user one to the users group. So this user is created. Now we want to check this user uh, through GUI. So I'm discussing the commands. However, this user is created. How do we verify if the user is created? So you go to system, and here you see administration, and you see users and groups. Once you see the users and group, you can see the test user one is created. And if you go to manage groups, so here you can add the user to the group. Okay, test user one. So now test user, when you select and click on add, it would need a password. So this is just to show how you can manage it through GUI as well. If you have okay, if you want to manage the users, okay, so group members, like group name, uh, you can select basic settings, like suppose you create a group, users group ID, and you want to add these two users, click OK. Group name has invalid characters, so you cannot use hyphen. Click OK. It is case sensitive. Now you can see the user group is created, and if you see in the user group there are two users. Okay, once we discuss groups, I will show you more on this. So currently I can just cancel, close, and come out of it. So it was basically to show that the user is created. If you go to advanced settings, so office location, work phone, home phone, it asked, and from here you can set user privilege, like use scanners, use modem, floppy, audio devices. So these are the privileges you can assign. So suppose I want this user to be able to monitor system logs. So I can select monitor systems log and click OK. You can go to advanced settings, and in advanced, this is the home directory for the user. The shell directory is bin bash. Main group is test user 1, and you can change the main default group from here. And user ID is 1002. You can modify the user ID. So this is how you can manage through GUI as well. So we create it through command line, through the command, and we can manage the users. The user is created. Now we will look into modifying a user. So how can we modify a user? The command to modify a user is user mod, and the syntax would be sudo user mod ag. Ag is the operator, group name, and username. Then we need to provide the group name, and we need to provide the username. This ag flag appends the user to a group without removing them from any other group. So let us test it. So what we need in this case is a group name and a username. So the group name we created was users group. So let us go to system and administration and users and groups. So if this user I see, and go to advanced settings, authenticate, and if you go to main group is test user 1. So take a users group. We created this users group, so you can change the group from here as well. So we'll take it as users group. So the username is test user 1 and group name is users group. So currently let me remove it. I'll put systemd journal group and click OK and click on close. So let me clear the console. And so now we use sudo. Okay, first of all, let me use sudo user mod only. So it gives you all these options. So -a is to append. So append the user to the supplemental groups mentioned by the G option without removing the user from other groups. And B, allow bad names, grid groups, force users to like as new primary group. So now let me use this. Okay, we'll clear and we'll do user. Okay, sorry, sudo user mod and -a. So it will append the group name. So users group, and then we will use test user 1. No, it is still not working. So we'll try with A and then append it with G. Let us see. So yeah, it worked. So it has modified the user with users group test user 1. Now suppose we want to change, because in in the GUI we changed the users group, so we will change the we will wait force user group. So we'll use this flag -g. So sudo user mod -g, and we'll put the user group name, which is users group, and for the user test user1. So it also ran it again. So now if we go to system and if we go to administration and we see users and group, we go to test users one, advanced settings. Okay, so I'll have to put the password. If we go to advanced, so you can see the main group changed back to users group. So hope this was clear. Next, I'll close it. Next, we'll see where viewing user information. So the command is ID. The syntax is ID username. So I'll clear the console. Okay. So now I'll put ID and username is test user1. If I run this, so you can see user ID is test user1. Group ID is 1003, which is the default or the main primary group for this user. Groups are user group, 4ADM, and users. Okay, so this is how you verify what like the user is member of which group and get the information about the user. So this was it for like getting the user ID. Next is switching the user. So to switch the user, the command is su, and the syntax is su username. Okay, so if you see, if when we talked about the sudo su command, so sudo su command is su is the part where you need to that tells you that you need to change the login. So suppose I need to log in as test user one. So what I'll do is su test user one. So password it will ask. Okay, so now it is logged in. This we are logged in with test user one. So you see test user one Parrot, like it is telling you that it is logged in with test user one. However, it has not loaded the complete profile because the home directory is still the Nitesh S directory. So if you see pwd, which is print working directory, so it is home Nitesh S. How do you solve it, or how do you log in to test user one with complete profile? So you go to su test user one and two slashes and type login, and you provide a password. Now it logged into the default profile. So if you check the pwd, like print working directory, so you see the directory has changed. So it has logged in with the complete profile. So test user one, and here the logged in user is test user one, but the profile is still or the present working directory is still the default logged in user. However, it has changed the present working directory specific to this user. So it is like you do not need to log into the machine. You can uh, run it like this. You can log into the terminal like this. It is just like when, as in Windows, you right click and log in as a different user. So I hope this is clear. Next, we will look into listing all users on your Linux machine. The command is cat etc password or view etc password. So let us see. We will be Coming back to the Linux machine, clear the console. So the command is cat etc password. So if we run this, so there will be like a lot of users that you'll see, but these are like mainly we need to look into like root user, and these are daemon bin system users, mail users, right? So these are not actually used to login. And if you see here, you will see Nitesh S and test user one, which we created just now. So this this we run with the cat command. If you run with the view, sorry, if you run with the view command, so view slash etc slash passwd, if you run it, so you'll see the same result. And from here, actually you can edit, but I don't want to do it right now. So I'll press Ctrl Z and come out of it. So this was the command to view, like listing all the users. Now let us go into group management commands. So adding a new group, suppose you want to create a new group. So the command is group add, and syntax is sudo group add and group name. So let us create a new group. So we'll do a clear here, and we'll do like sudo group add and name it like test group 1 and password for test user 1, because we are logged in as a test user 1. So let us see, it should deny the access, but let us see. The test user 1 is not in sudo or role file, and this incident will be reported to the administrator. So we just created a normal user, test user 1. It does not have the sudo access so that it can perform super user accesses. So again, then what we need to do here is we'll go to sudo su and hyphen login with this. No, it would be activating the sudo role. So we'll just simply come out of it and let us see, exit out of it, test user 1. It will remain in the test user 1. So just to show you, I'll have to open a new terminal. So we'll close this terminal and we will open a new terminal. Okay, and then we'll do sudo group add test group 1, and okay, so the group is created. So let me create other groups, test user 2, and that will create test user 3, test user 4, just for the testing purpose. Okay, so then you go to system, and then you go to administration, and then you go to users and groups. So advanced settings. Alright, you can do manage groups. So here you'll see the groups that we created. So test group 1, test group 2, test group 3, test group 4. 4 groups we have created, and close it. So this was to create the group. Now we'll see adding a user to the group. So we are back here, ag command sudo user mod. So we'll use two commands, like one is adding a user to a group, or second is a user to be added to a group. It would be like active and passive. So in one case, you are modifying the group membership of a user. Second, you are modifying the membership of a group. So these both are different commands. So we have seen this command already. So let us run this command. So we'll do sudo. So what we'll do is, wait, what we'll do is sudo user mod and g password. So first we'll do sudo user. We have run this already. Sudo user mod and do a g. Then we'll do a group name, test group 1, and then we'll put the username test user 1. Okay, so this is done. Similarly, suppose I want to use this test user 1 to group 1, then group 2, then group 3. Okay, and group 4 I'll leave it for the other command, which is sudo gpasswd. So we'll put it here, sudo gpasswd. Then it is append, and then we will put use group name test group 4. Then we'll put test user 1. Gpassword user test group 4. Okay, so it is in reverse order. So we'll put test user 1, and then we will put test group 4. Adding user test user 1 to group test user 4. Now let us verify. Go to system, go to administration and users and groups, and then you go to test user 1 advanced settings, and you go to advanced and groups. You see main group is, and this group 1 2 3 4, this user is added to this group. Okay, so that was it on groups. Now removing a user from a group. Okay, the command is sudo gpasswd. Now the operator, the flag will change, -d. Then we put username, and then we put the group name. Okay, so let us go ahead and test it. So sudo gpasswd and do a d and run it, removing the user test user 1 from group test user 4. So you go to system administration just to verify, and advanced settings, no, cancel it, test user 1 advanced settings, and password you have to provide every time, advanced and user group. So now if you see, this user is still a part of group 4, test group 1 2 3 4. Okay, so removing test user 1 from group test user. So let us run this command again. Okay, again running the command. So gpass user test user 1 is not a member of test group 4. Alright, so it showed you here that it is not a member. Now changing the user primary group, sudo user mod g group name. So we have done this already, changing the current group. Okay, we'll do it again. Sudo user mod g group name username. So let us go back to our terminal. This time I would like to clear. So sudo user mod. Okay, so current directory is user group, and the command G. So the command is -G group name. So I'll test user 4. Sorry, test group 4. We'll do test user 1. This is changed, and if I go system and administration, maybe I did not close it last time. Let us see. Update content, yes. So it is giving me a message. So the main group has changed to test group 4 that we wanted, and so it added the group. Okay, and okay, and now suppose we run the removal again. Let us see what happens. User test user 1 is not a member of test group 4, but we need to check on it again because it says user test user 1 is not a member of group 4, but we have changed the default group for test user 1 to test user 4. Okay, let us do sudo user mod d test user 1 and remove it from test group 4. Home dir must be an absolute path. Okay, d. Okay, so just sudo user mod. Suppose remove from a group option we see. No, D is home dir. Sorry, expiration groups. New list of supplementary groups. Non-unique. No, I don't think it is removing. It has an option to remove. Okay, so just check sudo uh, sudo and g password passwd g passwd passwd. If we check it, a delete user, remove user from group. Okay, we tried that already. Now suppose gpasswd -d, then we need to put the group name, so test group 4 and do a test user 1. User is not a part of the test group, but interestingly, if we go to administration and users and groups, and we see this test user 1 and manage groups. Okay, let us see here. Okay, it shows here as well 1 2 3 4 and add test group 4. Delete, this will delete the user group, right? Do not delete the group. So you enter advanced settings. Seems that I'm stuck here. So go to advanced test group. The main group is test group 4, but okay. Suppose I set it to users group and click OK and close, and then I run it. Test group 4 is not a member of user test group 4. Okay, something wrong I'm doing. maybe some error. So test user 1 is not a member of test group 4. Okay, so let me first see. Okay, so I think I'll have to come back with on this. Like, how do we check? Okay, so I think it's stuck, but the in the command line it says it is not a member. So let me add the group once again. Sudo g passwd, and we will append test group 4 to test user 1. Ah, I'm doing it wrong. Okay, it added the user test user 1 to group test group 4. Now it has added. Now we'll do it with D, removing user test user 1 from group test group 4. Okay, so alright, so we'll try another command, which is groups and username test user 1. Okay, test group. Okay, so we were like, maybe we're checking in the wrong place. So if you see groups test user 1, it will show you user group, ADM users, test group 1, test group 2, test group 3. Now suppose I run the add command and then I run test user 1. Okay, it is added to test group 4. Alright, so in the command line itself we can check. So what was that in administration users and groups? So go to, if I go to test user 1 and advanced. Okay, so if I go to advanced, alright, so what I understand now is main group, you can set the, even if it is not a member of the main group, so you can set main group here. So this will actually list all the groups in the GUI. When you go to main group, this will actually list all the groups and you can set the main group. So if the user is not a member of test group 4 and you set the main group as test group 4, it will start appearing in the user's profile. Okay, let us do a test. Okay, so first we will remove this group, test group 4. Okay, then we will go into system and then we will go into, and then we will first let us check groups and test user 1. So no, test group 4 is not there. Now we will go to GUI, administration, users and groups. Now we'll go to advanced. Okay, and go to advanced and user group, and we will change it to test group 4. Click OK and close. Now we will run the groups command again. Test group 4 is appearing now. You see, test group 4 is the primary group. Earlier it was not. So basically it sets the primary group and adds you to the group as well. So that is okay. So now I understand as well. So this makes things clear for me. So if I test user run account to login, manage groups. Here you can see properties, group ID 4. Okay, cancel, and then I go to test group 4. If I'm a member, if this user is a member of or not, and you see properties, then group members. Uh, so group members we see there. You can make a member, like you can actually make a member of the group membership, change the membership of the group from this GUI as well. So, okay. Now we see the primary group and all the group information. So hope for me it is more clear now, and I hope it is clear for you as well. Now we will delete a group. So the command is groupdel and sudo groupdel and group name. So let me clear it. So I'll do sudo groupdel, and suppose I'll delete test group 4. Cannot remove the primary group of user test user 1. So this group we cannot delete because it is a primary group for a user. So first we need to change the primary group for a user. Okay, remove test user 1 from test user group 4. Oh, groups, test group 4. So remove test group 4 and do test user 1. Remove it from there. Test group, no test group. Sorry, I'm stuck now. Group sudo group del test group 4 cannot remove the primary group of user test user 1. So what we need to do here now is remove the user. No, set the primary group for a user. So we'll use sudo usermod g group name username. So we'll do it sudo usermod -g group name test group 1 test group 1. We are making test group 1 as a primary group. Test user 1, it is changed. So now if I select groups, test user 1, so now test group 1 is the primary group. So we'll do sudo groupdel test group 4. Now the test group 4 is deleted. So you have to change the primary group for a user because it was a primary group. It would not allow us to delete. Okay, and now listing all group is su and username, and list all users. Sorry, I need to make a list all groups. So first we will see listing, which is the current session to the specific user. No, there is something wrong. So first listing all groups. I think I made a mistake. Listing all groups. So we put like command view etc group file. So we'll do a copy. Copy paste is not working on Parrot OS. Okay, let us see. Okay, it worked. So these are all the groups. It will list, or instead of view, you can use the cat command. Cat. So it will list all the groups. These are test group 1, test group 2, test group 3, and the members it will list user group, it will member, it will, this is test user one is also a group, but there are no members. And Wireshark, there are no members. Postgres, Debian, so these are all groups. ADM X4 test user one is the member of ADM group. Root, there are members, it is not listing. All right, so this is the command to list all the groups. I hope we are clear with user and group management commands in Linux. So there would be different level of expertise, different level of knowledge available. So might be, as I told you, like not an expert, but learning with you. So I'm also learning these commands. However, if this video anytime helped, please do comment, and whether it is negative and or positive. So I'm ready for it. Don't worry. Next, we will look into file and directory management commands in Linux. So these are the list of commands that we will discuss. Now, in order to view these commands, so I have Parrot OS and Kali Linux in my environment. So I have Kali Linux. Okay, so let us begin with it. So, okay, so let me clear the console because I was working on the Parrot OS. Now we will work on Kali Linux as well. I was checking the log files and okay, open the terminal. We will start with mkdir. So, or let us start with list command. So currently I'm logged in as Tesh in the Kali lab. So if I do ls, it will list all the directories. So the folders, desktop, documents, downloads, infoga, music, picture, public, you see all the files are all the folders and files it is listing. And if I use ls-l, now it is giving in a long format, it is giving it in more details. So this user has what kind of rights. So read write on the desktop file it is giving. So it is giving you all the information here. So let us decode this information. So first is desktop. Okay, if we start from this side, so the D indicates that the item is a directory, which means this desktop is a directory. In case of a file, this would be kind of a hyphen sign only, right? Then you start with the permissions. So it is a directory. This set is for the owner who owns the file. In this case, owner of this directory is this guy, Nitesh, and he has read write, execute, and read permission over this file. Explaining again, this directory is a desktop. This desktop is a kind of directory. D means directory. In case of file, it would be a single hyphen. Then the owner is Ritesh, and he has got read write. RW stands for read write. X and RX stands for execute. R stands for read. Then move to the second action where this is a group. So if anyone is part of this group, he will have no read write permission, execute permission yes, and read permission yes. Any other user will only have an execute permission, no read write, and no read permission. So this is how it shows you the more information about the directory. If you check documents, which means the owner ha has read write, execute, and read permission. Owner, this is a kind of directory. The group, the second one is the group, which says it does not have read write permission, execute, and read permission. So suppose there is a second user and I add him to like this group, then he will be able to read and execute, and any other user will only able to execute. Right? He'll not be able to read write or make the changes to the file. If I see a file, so suppose this is the file, one file. So it is a kind of file because it is started with a dash. So read and write permission, no execute permission for the root because this file was created by root. In the root group, if anybody is there, so he will only have read permission. Any other user will have no permission because it was created by a root user. Now this is like more information. This was created on August 3rd. This is the time of creation, and this is the size of file in bytes. Okay. Now, the other command that we need to look into is ls-a. So ls-a. So what it does, it lists all files, including hidden files, and those files like system files which start with dot. So you see like in ls command you can see only these files. However, there are files, more files if you do it with lsa. So there is this dot, double dot, dot x authority, dot bash original, dot dmrc, dot face, dot java. These are system files. It will also show, and it will show the hidden files. So these, and then it will show you the normal files as well. So this was lsa command. Now suppose we want to modify the permission for these files. So we will use kind of three operators. So u is for the owner. Okay, so I'll make a note here. Bring this screen back and click a note. So in chmod, so I'll do like u for owner, uh, g for group, and a for a, anyone, right? So okay, so let us run. So suppose we want to change the permission of this file, right? So currently the group is root, the owner group is root, and when we look into the ch own command, we can change the owner of this file. So suppose we will, okay, so we will create a file, okay, for now. So to create a file, we use touch command, touch test file.txt, right? So when we look into the file, more information on this touch command will let you know like how you can create files. So this is the file. Now if I do ls-l, now we'll see test file.txt. So it is a file I have, like, because I have created it, so I have read write permission. The group, which is this, it has a read write permission, and but anyone else does not have any permission on this file. So let us modify the file permission. So we'll do chmod. So first is the owner, so you, right? And we'll add execute command, and we'll put the file name, which is testfile.txt. If I do this and then I run lsl, so you can see testfile.txt, the owner has read write execute command, the group has read write permission but not execute command, and anyone else has read permission. Maybe last time I read it wrong. So now suppose we need to change the permission for the group, so we'll do chmod group plus x and name the file testfile.txt, right? And then do lsl. So now you see testfile.txt, the execute command is the execute permission is added. Now we'll do it for anyone. So we'll do a plus rw rwx. Let us test it. Test file.txt. It is done. So let us do lsl. So now you see test file rwt. So it has all the permission. Now if you want to remove the permissions, so you have to do like minus sign. So you do a minus sign here and you press enter, and so now you see test file.txt, anyone a, yeah, they do not have any permission here, it is all blank. Okay, so now do like permission a minus rpx. So anyone, I'll give the permission a, so anyone will have, so a stands for anyone, it will give everybody the permission. And if you see, if you remove rwx, read write execute all the command and do ls, it will become blank. There is nobody can open this file. So now again, this is one, so you add it and you check like l. Now it has given all the permissions. Now if I can bring this window up for you because it will be hidden. Okay, now it will be easy for you to see. Now okay, leave it like this, so enlarge a bit so you can see it. So what I did, I chmod awrwx, and if I cl, you see test file.txt, everybody has read write execute permission, and now I go ahead and remove it, a minus, and do lsl. It is blank, no permissions anymore. Now we will re provide the permission once again, right? So we will start with the owner. So chmod u stands for owner plus rwx read write execute and test file.txt. If I run it and then do lsa, now you see the owner, the first this portion is for read write execute for owner section. Now if you want to give it for group, so you need to change you to group. Now suppose I want to give only read permission, remove w and enter and do it like this. So now you see the read and execute permission is there, but anyone like does not have read write permission, and others. Okay, so now we'll do for others. So G, and you can use O, RX, and then you see O, RX. So others have RX, and A is for again A is for anyone. So if you give A for anyone and we check, so then RX, so RX was already there. Now it has given RX. Okay, if I do anyone RWX and do ls-l, you see it has given everyone RWX. So now I need to remove. So this is how you test it, or you can test like remove. I will give only execute command to execute permission to others. So O plus X test file. Okay, so and remove O plus X I have done, and remove O minus RW RX. Okay, so you see only write permission is there, right? So basically we understand how we can provide the permissions. Other option is to provide the permission is like giving the numbers through the numbers. So that we can learn later, but for now we know how to provide the permission. U is equal to, okay. Now in one go, how do we provide the permission? So chmod U equal to RW, so owner would be RW, G equal to maybe read permission, and others O equal to X, right? And file name is test file.txt. If you run it, now you see it has changed the permission of this test file as we stated earlier here in the command. So owner has read write, group has read permission, and others have X execute permission. If you do it for, suppose you do it for A equal to RW and run it, so you see everybody has RW permission, right? So this was modifying the permission of a file. Here you can basically give it in the command test file.txt, you can put the directory name as well. Now, suppose I want to change it for directory, so you need to put like, okay, first we will make a directory. To make a directory, the command is mkdir test, because this is the only user I am on this machine. I don't want to mess up with my account. Test directory. Okay, I have misspelled the name, but don't worry, that is okay. ls-l. So you see this test directory, right? So okay, so we'll learn, when we learn about the renaming, we'll rename it. So test. So okay, so we'll do chmod and anyone equal to read write execute and test directory, right? Okay, so it anyone has. This is a directory and everyone has read write execute command. Now this group, how do we change this group? So it is like changing the owner group for this file. So we use the command chon, listed the command here, chon owner group and file name. So suppose the group is user group. So to change the ownership of a file, what do we need is this command, paste clipboard. Okay, so what we see here is the command. Sorry. So the command is chon. Then we need to put options. Then we need to put user, and then we need to put group, and then we need to take file out the directory name. Okay. So the directory name. Okay. Let me open kind of Windows Manager. Okay. Note taking this one. Okay. So this is the file name. I'll take the one that we created, test file.txt. Okay, and once we change the directory name, we will take test directory, right? This one we created. Okay, now how many users I have? Users. Okay, so suppose um, sudo user add. I'll add a test user 1. Okay, so one user account. So user 1 is Nitish, and user 2 is test user 1. So this is how I'm preparing, like if I have to show you how to groups. Now we need groups. So groups, Nitish is ADM dialog floppy sudo audio video users. So one group I'll take is users. Okay. Uh, Group 1 is users. Sorry. Group 1 is users, and group 2 is right? So this is the prerequisite. The command is this: chown option user group chon users group file or directory. Okay, now the file we are taking is test file.txt. Let us clear the console. Sorry, clear the console. So now first we will change the user owner of a file. So we'll write here change user owner of a file. Okay, the command would be sudo chon user and file. Okay, so first what we will do is we'll put the values sudo sudo chon. Now the user I'll make is test user1, and we'll make him the owner of the file. So which file? Test file.txt, right? So we just copy it here, copy it and paste it here, paste clipboard, and it is done. So now if I do ls-l test file.txt, now you can see the owner has changed to test user1, right? So this command was successful. Now we'll change the group. So now to change the group, the command is this. So you see the colon sign. The colon sign is actually what tells that the value you are providing is actually a user or a group. Now let us put the values. Now do sudo chon. Now you put the group name here. The test user. Now group name would be users, and the users, and directory name would be test directory. Okay, test directory. Okay, do it. Now it changed. Now do ls-l. So this test directory, the group owner is users. See, the group that owns. So this field is for the user owner. This field is for the group owner. So group that owns test directory is users. Now suppose I want to change it to the user to the user ownership as well. So I will remove this colon and make like test user1 and do the test directory and do ls-l. So now you can see the owner has also changed for this directory, and the group is users, right? So this is how you can change the ownership of the group. So that was on the chon command. Now we'll see, we have done this ls, and pwd is a simple command which will print the current working directory. We have done chmod, and we have done chon. Now we'll do cd change directory, cp copy files, mv move, rm remove, mkdir, rmdir touch command. First, okay, let us see the touch command that we discussed. So let me go to this. Now this, with this touch command, you can create blank files. So you can go touch test image.jpeg, right? So you can see like it can create any extension, any file extension. So you can create touch test word.docx. It created, right? Touch test movie.mp4. So it created mp4. Now touch touch test music.mp3, right? So you see it is creating blank files with these extensions, right? So suppose if you do ls-l, now you see this is an image file, this is an mp3 file, right? So why this touch command works on Kali Linux? Because as you know, it is used for penetration testing. So these with the touch file, you can create blank files. You can send like watch this video, and you can actually put the payload on these MP3 files or MP4 files or JPG files. It will seem to the user like someone to whom you are sending a payload. It will seem to him like an image file, a music file, but it actually contains nothing. And you can put malicious codes in this file and push to the user's machine. So this is how you create file with the touch command, right? Now suppose you want to modify this file, so you can put nano testfile.txt. So it will open this file. You can write anything here. Hello, I am Nitesh, testing my myself on Kali Linux, right? And then you like this is you put, and you can do control X to exit this file. Save modified buffer. You want to save it? Click yes, right? Now next time if you open nano testfile.txt, it gives you the content of the file, and there are multiple things like write out, where is, cut, execute, location, set mark, previous back. So you can try all these commands with nano command. How do you modify the file? So I'll just exit, and because I have not made any change, it will not ask me to save it or not. Okay, so touch command we checked. Now let us see like cd command. So cd command is to change the directory. The currently, if you see this, the tilde sign, the twisted line sign, so it means it is in the home directory. So let us see. Let me clear it. Don't know where I'm typing. Clear. So if I do pwd print working directory, it is my home directory, which is home Nitesh. Now if I want to go to the root directory, cd, so and now you type pwd, it is in the root directory, like the base directory. It is not the home directory, and root directory are different. And suppose you want to change it to cd, something like desktop cd, sorry, so it is case sensitive. So desktop, when when it was created desktop, so you, sorry, okay, because I am in the root directory, so I have all these files. Now I need to move to home directory, so I'll put cd tilde. So I am back to the home directory. How do you check? pwd home location. Now if you do the list, you will see desktop here. So if I do cd desktop, so we are in desktop now. And if I do ls, we do not have any file here. So we do touch test music mp3. Now test file.txt. So I'm just creating just to show you where it is getting created. Now we do ls. Now you see two files. Then you go here, so you see on the desktop it is created. So that was like how do you change the directory. Now suppose what we need to do here is we will make directory and remove the directory. First we will this we have checked. Now I just need to show you cd double dot, which is going back in the directory. So open. So if I do cd double dot, these are simple commands. These are on uh, Windows as well, like Windows command prompt. Also, you can use this. If you go cd double dot again, it will take you to the home directory. Cd then double dot again, it will take you to the root directory. So it moved. So now cd change directory to, okay, cd, it was already there. It cannot go beyond this cd, and we are in desktop now. Now we will look into, now I'll create mkdir. I will create two directories. So mkd, sorry, mkdir, so we'll name it directory 1, and then mkdir directory 2, right? So you see one directory on the desktop, it is created one directory 1 and directory 2. Now we will move to directory 1, and do some directory 1, and now we'll do touch testfile.txt. Oh, sorry, touch testfile.txt, and testfile1.txt. Suppose I did it, and now I want to go to directory 1, so I have to go back, and then go to directory 2, and then I have to create two files there. Touch, I'll make it no test1.txt, then I'll make touch no text2.txt. So if I open these directories, so you can see test file 1, test file 1 txt is created. Now if I go directory 2, you can see no test 1, no test is created. Now we will try to move the files. Okay, so now we are done with mkdir. Now we will rename files and directories. Okay, so let us move the files. So first we'll use the mv file. Okay, mv command. So let me clear it out and do mv, and move from where, home, like it is in a home directory to it already. So if you put like cd, right, it went back to the desktop. Now you go back, so now it is in home. You need to reach the home directory, cnitash, and you need to go to cd desktop, because these directories are created on desktop. Sorry, it is always, it's just because I'm using Windows, it does not have. So I'm back in desktop. Now on desktop I have two directories, directory 1 and directory 2. Now first thing is, if I show you, like this command is used for renaming as well. So mv command is to rename as well. So first we'll try to rename it. So do mv directory 1 and name it to renamed dir1, and run this. You see this directory 1 is renamed to rename dir1 because we used the command to move. Okay, now suppose I want to move this directory. So move rename renamed dir1. Where we need to move it? We need to move it to directory 2. Directory 2. So if you see, in directory 2. This rename dir moved to the directory 2. This is like moving the directory. Okay, now we'll close it and now we'll bring it back. So move desktop, but this is not located on desktop. We are in, okay, so we are in desktop, but we are this directory is not there. So what it will throw an error that there is no directory with this name. All right, let us see what is the error. Cannot stat no such file or directory, right? So what we have to do is we have to go there and specify the correct location. Directory 2, directory 2 rename dir. So it is directory 2, which is referencing this folder, and rename dir1, which is inside it, and move it back to desktop. So let us see what happens. So you see, what it did, it actually renamed it as well. Renamed dir1. So if you check it, no, it is not there. Rename dir1 to desktop. Now why will it do so? Because I made some mistake. Okay, so now you move mv desktop to renamed dir. Okay, rename dir, renamed dir1. Okay, because I made some mistake. Renamed dir1, renamed dir1 directory 2, and it moved and it changed the name as well here. So move, I don't know if I move text file, new text, new file, .txt. Okay, it is to rename, and move file.txt to move, right? Okay. Let us see if we can move but not rename it. So we'll move renamed dir to directory 2. Again, now it moved. Rename dir to directory 2. Okay, now we want to move it back, right? So we will go to directory 2 slash renamed dir to desktop. Okay, making a lot of mistakes today. Hope you don't mind. We'll do it. Okay, so suppose I go cd cd directory 2. What I'm doing, cd directory 2, so I am in nowhere. Okay, cd desktop, cd directory 2. Again, I'm making a mistake. Directory 2, right? And we'll do an ls. We see renamed dir. So we'll do mv and renamed dir, rename dir to sign to desktop. Sorry. Directory to ls. What am I doing wrong? Remade. Oh my god. What I'm doing. Okay. So now I have to. Okay. So what we will do is we'll do mv. So we need to rename it like mv REMANEDDIR to renamed dir. Just put renamed, right? Okay. Now do ls. So it says renamed. Now we will move this renamed. We'll move this renamed where to home directory desktop. Typing disaster. Renamed. Okay. Sorry. So now it moved back and it has not changed the name. Such a typing disaster today. Alright, no problem. Okay. Now I want to move some files. So you do mv move, and in this file I have test file.txt, test file.txt, and where I want to move it, I want to move it to, again, no, in directory 2 I don't have test file. So mv, you have to be very sure what you are moving, notes1.txt. So put notes1.txt and move it to renamed. So where do you want to move? Desktop, and you need to put renamed, renamed. Okay. Am I tired? Notes T1. Notes T1 it is. So you need to, this is actually what happens when you run Linux after you are running Windows. So this file is gone from its directory, and it has moved to the directory where you specified. So actually when you are specifying the till sign / desktop, it is renamed, it is referring to your home directory and home desktop directory. Now remove cp. Cp would be like the copy command, it is same as mv. So you just put cp and you see cp recursive. You can try this out, but I would be more interested in telling you rm command. Okay, so let us see the remove command. We'll clear it, and I don't know what has happened. Everywhere I'm doing typing mistakes. cd, we are in desktop, so we'll go to the home directory. Okay, and we'll check pwd. It is home Nitish. Now from here we want to copy the delete a directory. So we'll do ls and we'll see whatever I have. So first we will remove the files. So rm remove test image dot jpeg. Right now I'll remove music dot jpeg. What I'm doing today, test music mp3. Now if you see like ls, you do not have those files. So this is how you delete files actually. Now if I look at the directories, so I have this test directory, and actually I should go to desktop where I made typing disaster. And I'm coming from Windows background and switching to Linux. Like not switching, but working on Linux as well. So there are so many times there are confusions created. So I have two directories. So I'll do remove directory 2. So it is a directory. So what we do with this directory? So we'll go rm -r directory 2. So what actually it does? So when you use the -r, so it does a recursive deletion. So it goes inside the directory 2, and inside it, if it finds any files, it will go ahead and delete all the files as well. If there are multiple files, so this is kind of a notification which tells you this is a directory and it contains files. So then you would go ahead and check the directory, what are the files, whether you want to remove it or not. So if I want to remove this renamed, I'll do the same. However, let me see, there is something, it forces the deletion of files without prompting. So okay, so suppose I'm the rm -f and the rename cannot, still it says it is a directory. So we'll use like f, and we'll do a recursive, and now it is removed. So this is how you remove folders. If it is not empty, you need to use -r flag. So we have discussed almost all the commands here. This, how to create the hard link, right? So it is ln command source link name. So we can discuss it later. I have already made a long video, and I think that would make this video boring, apart from the typing disasters I made on this video. Okay, so alright, we are finishing this video here. And if you liked, do subscribe, like, share, and comment. If you have good comments, bad comments, ugly comments, you can comment it. If you think it is something that you learned today, you can like it, subscribe it for more videos. Have a nice day.